Once admired as the shining elite of Hollywood, these unforgettable stars seemed to have it all: fame, influence, and a spotlight that never faded. Their names dominated headlines, their appearances captivated audiences worldwide, and their lives became symbols of glamour and success. But behind the cameras and flashing lights, the pressures of constant attention, personal challenges, and the unstoppable passage of time quietly transformed many of these iconic figures in ways few could have imagined. From legendary film stars to beloved television personalities, their dramatic evolutions have surprised fans across generations. In this video, we'll uncover 15 extraordinary before and after transformations that reveal the hidden reality behind life in the public eye. Be sure to watch until the end, because the final transformation is so unexpected and unbelievable, it may completely change the way you remember them. Madonna has remained one of the most influential and transformative figures in modern entertainment for more than 4 decades. From the moment she emerged in the 1980s, her fearless creativity, bold performances, and constant reinvention reshaped the landscape of pop culture around the world. Born in Detroit, Madonna built a career defined by ambition, artistic evolution, and an unmatched ability to stay at the center of global attention. Generation after generation watched as she continuously challenged expectations, redefining what it meant to be a pop icon. But with decades in the spotlight also came the immense pressure of maintaining an image under constant public scrutiny. As time moved forward, conversations surrounding her appearance, evolving style, and personal transformation increasingly became part of her public story. Now, in her later years, Madonna continues to live surrounded by the luxury and legacy she spent a lifetime creating in Los Angeles, while still symbolizing the endless pursuit of reinvention in an industry that rarely allows its legends to stand still. Over the years, Madonna has continued to reinvent herself in ways that constantly spark conversation across generations of fans. Her carefully crafted public image, dramatic fashion choices, and ever-evolving appearance have become part of the larger story surrounding one of pop culture's most enduring figures. The same artist who once challenged cultural boundaries and dominated the global music scene now navigates a new era shaped by social media, viral trends, and intense public attention, unlike anything seen during the height of her early fame. Online videos, bold performances, and unconventional artistic choices frequently divide audiences, with some praising her fearless individuality, while others struggle to recognize the icon they once knew. Yet beneath the designer outfits, dark glasses, and elaborate stage productions remains a performer determined to preserve her creative identity in an industry obsessed with youth and reinvention. Even as time changes every artist eventually, Madonna continues to symbolize resilience, transformation, and the complicated reality of remaining in the spotlight for more than 4 decades. For many observers, the real story surrounding Madonna is not simply about appearance or reinvention, but about the immense pressure placed on women in entertainment as they grow older in the public eye. Throughout her career, she challenged expectations, broke cultural boundaries, and proved that confidence and artistic power could reshape an entire industry. Many believed she had the opportunity to redefine what aging could look like for global icons, transforming experience, wisdom, and longevity into a new kind of strength. Instead, the constant demand to remain relevant in a culture obsessed with youth has created an image that often feels caught between reinvention and resistance against time itself. Beneath the dramatic fashion, elaborate performances, and carefully controlled image, audiences sometimes sense something more human: the universal fear of becoming invisible in a world that moves quickly to the next sensation. In many ways, that emotional struggle has become one of the most revealing chapters of her legacy, showing how even the most powerful stars are not immune to the pressures of fame, identity, and the passing of time. Chevy Chase rose to fame in the late 1970s and early 1980s as one of Hollywood's most recognizable comedy icons. Known for his exaggerated physical humor, quick wit, and unforgettable screen presence, he became a household name almost overnight. His performances brought energy and laughter to audiences everywhere, while his charismatic style helped turn several comedy classics into cultural favorites. With success came enormous attention, and for a time, his career appeared nearly unstoppable. Yet behind the bright lights and public applause, growing tensions, creative disagreements, and the intense pressure of staying at the top slowly began to shape a far more complicated story. As expectations increased and Hollywood evolved, the challenges surrounding fame became harder to ignore, revealing how quickly life in the spotlight can change even the most celebrated stars. After his unexpected exit from Saturday Night Live, long-standing tensions and creative conflicts reportedly followed Chevy Chase throughout much of his career. Stories of difficult backstage relationships and clashes with fellow performers, including Bill Murray, became part of Hollywood legend and continued to shape public perception for years. Later, what many hoped would become a major career resurgence through Community gradually faced setbacks as reports of uncomfortable humor, creative disagreements, and strained interactions with cast and crew once again drew attention. Tensions involving figures such as Donald Glover and creator Dan Harmon added to the growing narrative surrounding his complicated reputation in the entertainment world. Over time, the fast-paced energy that once defined his performances also began to fade, serving as a reminder that even the most iconic entertainers are eventually changed by the passing years and the weight of a life spent in the spotlight. Today, Chevy Chase reflects the natural changes that come with decades spent in the public eye. The energetic performer, once known for fast-paced physical comedy, now carries a calmer and more reserved presence, shaped by years of fame, challenges, and experience. His voice has softened with age, and the youthful confidence that once defined his screen persona has gradually given way to the quiet wisdom of a long Hollywood journey. Despite the ups and downs of his career, Chase has continued to speak openly about accepting himself and embracing the person he has become. Now, in his 80s, he lives a more private life in New York alongside his wife, making only occasional appearances for longtime fans who still remember the comedy era he helped define. Once celebrated for perfectly timed on-screen mishaps and unforgettable performances, he now represents something far more human. The reality that even entertainment legends must eventually face the unstoppable passage of time with resilience, reflection, and dignity. Marlon Brando was once regarded as one of the most revolutionary performers in cinematic history, an artist whose emotional intensity forever changed the way audiences viewed acting on screen. In the 1950s, he became far more than a traditional movie star. His performances carried a realism and vulnerability that felt bold, unpredictable, and deeply human. With unforgettable roles in A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront, Brando introduced a style of acting that felt raw, emotional, and alive, inspiring generations of performers who followed. His distinctive voice, commanding presence, and magnetic energy made him one of Hollywood's most admired and influential figures. Audiences around the world were captivated by his ability to blend strength with sensitivity, creating characters that felt strikingly authentic and emotionally powerful. Yet as the years passed, the pressures of fame, personal struggles, and a growing distance from the spotlight gradually transformed the life of a man once viewed as untouchable, turning his story into one of Hollywood's most fascinating and complex legacies. By the 1970s, even as Marlon Brando experienced a major career resurgence through The Godfather, the intense pressures of fame and years of personal struggles had already begun to leave visible marks on his life. Though his talent remained undeniable, his changing appearance and increasingly private lifestyle became subjects of constant public discussion. During the production of Apocalypse Now, stories of creative challenges, last-minute improvisation, and unconventional working methods added to the growing mystery surrounding the legendary actor. Directors and audiences alike still recognized flashes of the extraordinary brilliance that had once transformed Hollywood, But the image of the unstoppable young rebel had evolved into something far more complicated and human. Later, while working on the island of Dr. Moreau, Brando's unpredictable behavior and unusual on-set habits became part of entertainment folklore, further strengthening his reputation as one of cinema's most enigmatic figures. Even as the myths surrounding him grew larger over time, they also revealed the emotional weight and isolation that can sometimes accompany a lifetime spent under relentless public attention. As the years passed, Marlon Brando became known as much for his complex personal life as for his extraordinary talent. Filmmakers often viewed him with a mixture of admiration and uncertainty, recognizing both the brilliance he brought to the screen and the challenges that sometimes surrounded his later career. Away from Hollywood, deeply painful family hardships and emotional struggles gradually pushed Brando toward a quieter, more isolated life, much of it spent on his private retreat in Tahiti. Yet even during his later years, his presence remained unforgettable. His voice still carried remarkable power, and his performances continued to reveal flashes of the magnetic intensity that had forever changed modern cinema. When Brando passed away in 2004 at the age of 80, he left behind far more than a legendary film career. He left a lasting influence that continues to shape generations of actors around the world. His commitment to emotional realism transformed Hollywood storytelling, while his life also became a powerful reminder of how fame, pressure, and extraordinary talent can exist alongside deep personal struggles. Val Kilmer emerged in the 1980s as one of Hollywood's most compelling and unpredictable stars, blending undeniable charisma with an intense artistic presence that made him stand out in nearly every role he played. From his breakout success in Top Gun to his transformative performance in The Doors and later his appearance in Batman Forever, Kilmer built a reputation as a performer capable of balancing confidence, vulnerability, and powerful screen presence all at once. With his classic leading man appearance and deep commitment to his craft, he quickly became one of the defining actors of his generation. Yet alongside the praise came stories of creative tension and an intense personality that sometimes created challenges behind the scenes. Directors and co-stars occasionally described him as fiercely independent, deeply absorbed in his roles, and difficult to predict during productions. Filmmakers such as Joel Schumacher openly spoke about the pressures of working with such a strong artistic personality, while comments from actors like Tommy Lee Jones became part of Hollywood folklore. Even so, many who worked with Kilmer also recognized the extraordinary dedication and emotional intensity that made his performances unforgettable and helped secure his place as one of cinema's most fascinating talents. Despite the challenges that sometimes followed Val Kilmer throughout his career, few ever questioned the depth of his talent or the intensity he brought to his performances. His artistic dedication helped create some of the most memorable characters of his era, but the same fiercely independent spirit that fueled his success also made his journey through Hollywood far from easy. In later years, serious health struggles dramatically changed his life and public image. After battling throat cancer, Kilmer faced major physical changes that affected both his appearance and his ability to speak, forcing him to communicate in new and deeply personal ways. Yet rather than hiding from those realities, he chose a path of openness and reflection. Through the deeply personal documentary Val, created using decades of private recordings and behind-the-scenes footage, audiences were able to witness a far more vulnerable side of the actor, one filled with humor, honesty, resilience, and emotional self-awareness. Instead of trying to preserve an illusion of perfection, Kilmer allowed the world to see the human being behind the Hollywood image, turning his later years into a powerful story about perseverance, identity, and finding dignity through profound personal change. For many longtime fans, the later chapter of Val Kilmer's life has become less about celebrity and more about humanity. The larger-than-life screen presence that once seemed untouchable gradually gave way to a far more personal and reflective figure shaped by hardship, resilience, and self-acceptance. Rather than attempting to hide the physical changes brought by illness and time, Kilmer chose to face them openly, allowing audiences to see a level of honesty rarely visible in Hollywood. The actor, once known for portraying bold and charismatic characters, now carries a quieter strength, one grounded not in perfection, but in authenticity. Though his voice changed and his appearance evolved, many admirers believe those experiences revealed an even deeper form of courage and artistic spirit. Today, whether appearing at art exhibitions or reconnecting with fans, Kilmer is often surrounded by appreciation and respect from people who see not only a legendary actor, but also someone who transformed personal struggle into a message of resilience and grace. In many ways, his later years have become one of his most meaningful legacies, reminding audiences that vulnerability itself can hold extraordinary power. Steven Seagal rose to fame during the late 1980s and early 1990s as one of Hollywood's most recognizable action stars, bringing a calm yet intimidating presence to the screen that set him apart from the louder, fast-talking heroes of the era. With films such as Under Siege and Hard to Kill, Seagal introduced audiences to a style of action built around precision, control, and martial arts discipline. His dark clothing, serious expression, and composed fighting style created an image of mystery and authority that captivated fans around the world. At the height of his popularity, he appeared less like a traditional movie star and more like a figure pulled directly from legend, calm under pressure, powerful without effort, and almost impossible to challenge. Yet as the years passed, the carefully crafted image that once seemed unstoppable slowly began to change. Shifts in Hollywood trends, growing public scrutiny, and the natural effects of time gradually transformed both his career and the perception surrounding him. Rather than collapsing all at once, the larger-than-life myth surrounding Seagal slowly faded piece by piece, revealing the complicated reality behind one of action cinema's most unusual and controversial icons. As time moved forward, Steven Seagal gradually became far removed from the image that once defined his action movie fame. The physical intensity and effortless confidence that captivated audiences during his peak years slowly gave way to a quieter and more reserved presence. Now in his 70s, Seagal often appears dressed in his signature dark clothing and tinted glasses, carrying the weight of decades spent both in the spotlight and under constant public scrutiny. Online clips of martial arts demonstrations and public appearances frequently spark debate across social media, with many viewers comparing the legendary action persona of the past to the more subdued reality of the present. Over time, public conversations surrounding his career have also been shaped by controversy and criticism, which significantly affected how audiences and the entertainment industry viewed him. Once closely associated with Hollywood premieres and blockbuster action films, Seagal eventually stepped away from much of mainstream American entertainment and spent increasing amounts of time in Moscow. His story has since become a striking example of how fame, public image, and cultural perception can dramatically evolve over the course of a long and highly visible career. In recent years, Steven Seagal has remained a highly polarizing public figure, not only because of his film career, but also due to his political associations and international connections. His relationship with Vladimir Putin, along with his decision to obtain Russian citizenship, sparked widespread discussion and further transformed his public image, far beyond the action star persona that once made him famous in Hollywood. While Seagal continues to appear in smaller action productions such as End of a Gun and Contract to Kill, many audiences have noted how dramatically his on-screen presence has changed over time. The fast-moving martial artist who once dominated action cinema has gradually become a more static and symbolic figure, often relying on dialogue-heavy scenes and carefully staged performances, rather than the intense physical choreography that originally defined his fame. His signature dark clothing, dyed hair, and carefully maintained image now seem less like expressions of confidence and more like an effort to preserve the identity of a cinematic legend shaped decades earlier. In many ways, Seagal's later years reflect the complicated reality of celebrity mythology, how public personas can endure long after time has transformed the person behind them. Lindsay Lohan rose to fame as one of the most recognizable young stars of the early 2000s, captivating audiences with a blend of humor, charisma, and natural screen presence that made her seem destined for a long Hollywood reign. With standout performances in Freaky Friday and Mean Girls, she quickly became a symbol of youthful stardom and one of the defining faces of a new generation in entertainment. Her energy, confidence, and relatable charm earned admiration from fans around the world, while industry insiders viewed her as one of Hollywood's brightest rising talents. For a moment, it appeared as though her future would be filled with endless opportunity and success. But as her fame intensified, so did the pressures surrounding her personal life. The same media attention that once celebrated her achievements gradually turned into relentless scrutiny, following her through every public appearance and private struggle. Endless headlines, constant paparazzi attention, and the overwhelming pace of celebrity culture transformed her rise to fame into a far more difficult and emotionally exhausting experience than anyone could have imagined at the beginning of her career. Thrown into global fame at an incredibly young age, Lindsay Lohan quickly discovered how unforgiving the entertainment industry could become when personal struggles unfolded under constant public attention. As media pressure intensified, her life became dominated by headlines documenting legal troubles, emotional setbacks, and highly publicized attempts to regain stability. What had once been celebrated as youthful confidence slowly gave way to visible exhaustion, created by years of scrutiny, overwhelming expectations, and the non-stop cycle of celebrity culture. Fans who had grown up watching her on screen witnessed a dramatic transformation that often seemed less like rebellion and more like the weight of fame arriving far too early. Yet despite the difficult years and relentless tabloid attention, Lohan's story did not end in collapse. Over time, she stepped away from much of the Hollywood spotlight, eventually building a quieter and more private life in Dubai. Away from the constant noise of celebrity culture, she gradually focused on rebuilding her personal stability and reconnecting with a calmer version of herself. For many longtime admirers, her journey has become not just a story about fame and downfall, but also one about survival, growth, and the possibility of reinvention after years spent under extraordinary public pressure. Today, Lindsay Lohan has entered a far more peaceful chapter of life, embracing motherhood, marriage, and a quieter existence far removed from the chaos that once surrounded her every move. After years defined by relentless headlines and public scrutiny, she gradually rebuilt both her personal life and career on her own terms. In 2022, her return to the screen through projects such as Falling for Christmas introduced audiences to a more grounded and reflective version of the former teen superstar, reminding longtime fans that the charm and warmth that first made her famous had never fully disappeared. While time and experience have naturally changed both her appearance and public image, many now view her story less as a cautionary tale and more as a powerful example of endurance and personal growth. The young actress, once overwhelmed by the pressures of fame, has evolved into someone who appears more balanced, self-aware, and emotionally resilient. In many ways, her journey through success, hardship, and renewal reflects a deeper truth about celebrity culture, that genuine strength is not found in perfection, but in the ability to rebuild after life's most difficult chapters. Nick Nolte was once seen as one of Hollywood's defining leading men, celebrated for a rugged screen presence that blended toughness, vulnerability, and emotional depth in a way few actors could replicate. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, he built a reputation for portraying complicated characters with raw intensity, becoming known for performances that felt both powerful and deeply human. In films such as The Prince of Tides, Nolte helped redefine traditional masculinity on screen, showing audiences that strength and emotional complexity could exist side by side. His commanding voice, striking features, and unpredictable energy made him one of the era's most memorable stars, and in 1992 he was famously named Sexiest Man Alive by People, a moment that symbolized the height of his Hollywood image. But as the decades passed, time gradually reshaped the actor who once represented rugged perfection. Public appearances later in life revealed a far more weathered and reflective figure, his appearance transformed by age, experience, and the realities of a life lived intensely both on and off the screen. Yet for many admirers, those visible changes only added to the authenticity that had always defined Nolte's appeal, turning him from a polished Hollywood icon into a symbol of endurance, individuality, and unapologetic humanity. As the years passed, Nick Nolte's appearance became a reflection of a life marked by intense highs, personal struggles, and hard-earned resilience. The rugged face that once defined Hollywood charisma gradually evolved into something more weathered and deeply human, shaped not only by time, but also by years of difficult battles away from the cameras. Public attention surrounding his struggles with substance abuse reached a peak in the early 2000s, when a widely circulated booking photo unexpectedly became one of the most talked-about celebrity images of its era. Long before social media amplified every headline instantly, that moment symbolized the dramatic contrast between the polished movie star audiences once admired and the reality of a man confronting serious personal challenges. Yet rather than allowing those struggles to define the rest of his story, Nolte ultimately chose a path toward recovery and self-reinvention. After facing dangerous addiction issues and serious health concerns, he worked toward sobriety and gradually rebuilt both his life and sense of stability. For many observers, his journey transformed him from a fading symbol of Hollywood glamour into something far more meaningful, a reminder that survival, accountability, and personal growth can sometimes become a person's greatest triumph. Now in his 80s, Nick Nolte carries the appearance of someone shaped by a lifetime of intense experiences, personal battles, and hard-earned reflection. His slower movements, weathered features, and roughened voice no longer resemble the polished Hollywood image that once dominated movie screens, yet they reveal something far more enduring authenticity. Age and hardship have left visible marks, but they have also given him a quiet presence that many fans find deeply compelling. Though he appears on screen far less frequently today, his performances still carry the emotional gravity and raw realism that defined his career from the beginning. Rather than hiding the effects of time, Nolte seems to embrace them openly, allowing every line and expression to reflect the story of a life fully lived, with all its triumphs and mistakes. For many admirers, his later years are not a symbol of decline, but of endurance proof that true character is often revealed not through perfection, but through the ability to survive, adapt, and continue forward with honesty and resilience. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss future videos exploring the fascinating journeys of Hollywood's most unforgettable stars. See you in the next video.